We stand at a crossroads in our nation's history, where the values that built our democratic society, law, order, and individual liberty, are being challenged by forces that seek chaos under the guise of progress. The fundamental question we must ask ourselves is this: are we willing to surrender our safety, our sovereignty, and our sense of justice to ideological extremism, or will we defend the principles that have upheld civilization for centuries?
Tipping off various groups about ICE raids in advance, it takes away the element of surprise. That puts agents' lives in jeopardy. Now they're doxing them. What are they saying? Go to this guy's house and kill this guy? It sounds like a threat to me. And what will the reaction be?
Well, it's under investigation right now. Matter of fact, I have a meeting tomorrow morning with the Department of Justice. I think that's crossing the line of impediment. And I hope the Department of Justice agrees with me so we find out who's doing it. Hopefully we can prosecute them and put them in jail. Look, I know about doxing, Sean. I got a Governor Youngkin has assigned a state trooper to my home 24/7. I have a marked car outside my door right now. I got a security detail. The left has lost their minds. It's all of a sudden the ones who enforce the law, the bad guys, the one who break the law, the victims. We're not going to let them slow us down. We're not going to be bullied. We're not going to be intimidated. What we're going to do in these cities, we'll double the manpower. We'll flood those neighborhoods with DEA, ATF, FBI, and ICE. We'll double the effort, right? And it will increase worksite enforcement operations in those communities. We're not going to play a game with these people. We made it clear we're concentrating on public safety threats, and no one should disagree with taking child sex predators off the streets. ICE just took 9 sexual predators off the street in Massachusetts because they won't honor detainers. ICE made those communities safer, and we're going to continue to make those communities safer.
What do you make of these 2 cities in Massachusetts now that are suing because of the public officials that want the right to put the rights of illegals over the safety of citizens in their towns?
Look, the people who vote these people, they need to take under consideration what these people are doing. I'll say it again. We are prioritizing public safety threats, child predators, rapists, murderers. These are the worst of the worst walking around your communities. And you would think any elected mayor, any elected governor, any elected city councilwoman would want public safety threats removed from their communities. They're number one responsibility of the taxpayers, the voters. They expect a safe community. So I hope people are waking up to these far left nuts who want to push back against ICE and what we're doing. We're making communities safer. We're keeping President Trump's promise to make communities safer and end illegal alien crime in this country.
You know, for the longest time during the campaign on this show, we would roll the names of people that were murdered, and a lot of names that people have not heard, people that were raped, other victims of violent crime. That list gets longer and longer and longer. And then I listen to, idiots like Michael Moore. Oh, we're deporting maybe the person that will cure cancer in the future. Okay, they can cure cancer in their country and we'll pay them a lot of money for whatever they discover. That, to me, what part of murder, rape, violent crime, drug dealing are they not understanding? Known terrorists in this country, what part of that being dangerous to every American are they not comprehending?
Well, a couple of things. You want to talk about, young adults, young children. Most of the young adults that came across that border during the Biden administration were between the age of 15 and 17. Many of them are gang members. We did an operation in New York City and arrested almost 500 gang members, Operation Matador. 48% of them came across the border claiming to be a child. So you don't know what you have. There are a lot of these so-called children are actually, dangerous gang members. And I wish Michael Moore would go talk to an angel mom and dad. Talk to a few of the angel moms and dads I've talked to over my career. I've talked to hundreds of them. American citizen parents who buried their children because their children was murdered and raped by an illegal alien. Talk to the parents of the young lady that was burned alive on a subway in New York City. Governor Hochul comes out and says she agrees illegal aliens should be removed, but yet she wants to fire Mayor Adams for speaking with me about getting back into Rikers Island to arrest the bad guys who commit crimes in New York City. She wants a green light law where CBP and ICE officers can't even run a license plate number for New York State license plate. They don't know who they're pulling over. That's a dangerous situation. There's another nut that should be removed from office. It's disgusting, but they're not going to slow us down, Sean. We're coming. Yeah. We're coming across this country. We're going to arrest criminal aliens. You're not going to stop us.
I've never met anybody in my life. I've known you a long time. That is when they get their focus and they're dialed in on a mission, they're committed to finishing it. Last question. Are you making progress? I was asking DHS Secretary Noam about this. Are you making progress finding the people that are endangering ICE agents' lives by tipping off people of pending raids by ICE? Are you making progress finding those people?
Yes, made progress. We know who leaked the Aurora, Colorado operation. That is under investigation as we speak. And we'll keep looking for any other leaks. I just came back from Colony Ridge, Texas. Great operation, arrested over 100 people, most of them criminals. Operation went great. No leaks. Operation security was the finest, so it's a great operation.
Yeah, well, I will say this. I've known Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, a long time. I'm pretty sure when she finds out ICE agents are being doxxed, that's going to be a major legal issue in the lives of the people that are doing that. We appreciate the good work. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Tom.
This debate is not new. History has always been a battlefield between order and disorder, responsibility and recklessness, discipline and indulgence. The founding fathers of our nation understood this delicate balance, recognizing that freedom cannot exist without the rule of law. Yet today, we see an unsettling trend, an effort to undermine those who enforce our laws and protect our communities. Consider the recent controversy surrounding Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. In Los Angeles, radical activists have taken to doxing ICE agents, exposing their personal information and putting their lives at risk. This is not just an attack on law enforcement, it is an attack on the very foundation of justice. If those who uphold the law are threatened into silence, what happens to the rule of law itself? Tom Homan, the former director of ICE, made it clear, we will not be intimidated. We will double our manpower, flood the streets with law enforcement, and increase operations to ensure that criminal elements do not take control of our neighborhoods. This is not about targeting law-abiding immigrants, as the left falsely claims. It is about protecting American citizens from those who have broken the law, from gang members to human traffickers to violent criminals. The importance of clarity in public discourse cannot be overstated. The media distorts narratives to fit an ideological agenda, portraying those who enforce the law as oppressors and those who break it as victims. This is a moral inversion, one that threatens not just our immigration policies but the very concept of justice itself. If a nation cannot differentiate between right and wrong, it ceases to function. Often speaks about the complexity of human nature and the necessity of personal responsibility. He warns against ideological possession, the state in which individuals become so blinded by their beliefs that they refuse to engage in rational dialogue. This is precisely what we see today, an unwillingness to acknowledge the consequences of lawlessness. The value of constructive dialogue, intellectual humility, and self-critique. Yet, those who criticize radical policies are immediately vilified, labeled as bigots or extremists. Free speech is the cornerstone of any functioning democracy, yet it is under attack. Those who question the status quo face deplatforming, social ostracization, and in the case of ICE agents, literal threats to their safety. This is not democracy, this is coercion. A society that silences its dissenters is no longer free. We must also recognize the role of biological and cultural obligations. The family unit, the most fundamental building block of any society, is under siege. Radical activists push for policies that undermine parental rights and traditional values, replacing them with state-imposed ideologies. History warns us of the dangers of centralized control, from the Soviet Union's collectivist policies to the tragic consequences of colonial overreach. When the government dictates morality, individual rights are always the first casualty. The perspective is rooted in realism. We do not advocate for reckless change but for measured, principled progress. We recognize that while society must evolve, it must do so without abandoning the wisdom of the past. The left's refusal to engage in honest critique, its outright dismissal of viewpoints, only accelerates division. If history has taught us anything, it is that extremism, whether left or right, always leads to destruction. The conservative movement is not about fear, it is about truth. We believe in a nation where laws are enforced, where free speech is protected, where tradition and progress coexist, and where public safety is prioritized over political ideology. We will not allow law enforcement officers to be vilified. We will not allow our borders to be overrun. We will not allow radicalism to dictate our policies. To those who believe in law and order, who value free speech, who cherish the principles that built this great nation, you are not alone. The time to stand is now. The time to speak is now. The time to defend truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be for those who oppose it, is now. Thank you, and may we continue to fight for a nation that upholds justice, reason, and true democratic values.